Listen, I'm straight out of the east side of Detroit, Warren and Connor. I got some east siders with me. Yes, yes, yes. I still got love for the west side too. Yes, yes. From the east side of Detroit. And listen, I tell you, if we had the movie The Color Purple on the screen today, I tell you, just like Sophia, all my life I had to fight. Do I got some fighters in here? You fought through the storm, you fought through the rain, you fought through the stumbling blocks, the setbacks, and the pain. And listen, I know y'all looking at my bearded baby face, but y'all know black don't crack.
That's right.
Brown won't let you down. Beige don't age. Tan got a plan, and lighter do you right. I think I got everybody in the house today. We all are here. Just nudge your neighbor and just tell them how much they owe you for allowing them to sit next to you. Come on, tell them you owe me $50, you owe me $100.
You owe me $1 million.
You better recognize who you sit next to. I'm a gift to somebody. I'm your gift. I'm your freedom fighter. You may not want to embrace me, but you can't repeal and replace me. Listen, I brought some material with me that I know will bless you. I've written 14 books now. There's 66 books in the Bible. I've only written 14 of my own. So I got a long way to go. But I'm a living witness. Your test is a testimony. Your misery is ministry. Your mess is a message. Your stumbling block is a stepping stone. And what God will do is he will use your setback as a setup for your greatest comeback. He'll use your tragedy as strategy. 2022 marks 22 years of me being cancer-free. Yeah. Absolutely. Was diagnosed with what the doctors said was NHL. I thought it was National Hockey League. The doctor said, no, you have non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. He said, you have not one, not two, not three, but four. After feeling chest pains for over 2 weeks, the doctor says you have stage 4 cancer. Just being a tender teenager, fighting for my life when I was just starting my life. But I'm a living witness that I'm grateful for a praying mama. My mama prayed for me, had me on her mind, took the time to pray for me. My own biological father never visited me one day in the hospital. The people I thought were praying for me were literally praying on me, sitting on the sideline expecting my demise. Lost all my hair, my self-confidence, my self-esteem, my will to live. But I'm grateful that Psalm 118:17 says, I shall not die, but live and declare the works of the Lord. I'm glad that I was able to find the first 3 letters in cancer, which spells can. You can overcome, you can survive. And so I brought some material with me that I know will bless you. I've been able to go across the country and speak, whether it's for Bishop T.D. Jakes, whether it is for Steve Harvey, whether it is developing a program that I did some work for HRES 721, which became the impetus for President Obama's My Brother's Keeper initiative to work on the 13th district with former Congressman Hanson Clark as a congressional aide. I know what it is to not just be on the sidelines, but be on the front lines, fighting for freedom, justice, and equality, to let freedom ring for our people. And so I've got a book here called Dear Queen. It's a 2-volume set, which really speaks life into the lives of our sisters. Every queen ought to give another queen a hair flip, a high five, 3 snaps and a neck roll, telling you, go girl. You all that in a bag of Bibles. You all that in a skirt and scriptures. You better go on with your bad self. Because queen means quintessentially unique, empowering everyone naturally. Malcolm X said the most neglected, unprotected, and disrespected woman on the planet is the black woman. And oftentimes when us as brothers stand on the sidelines, it's our sisters, sainted sister soldiers who stand on the front lines. And so I wanted to give some redress and also some life, speak life into the lives of our sisters. So it's a 2-volume set of information and revelation here in Dear Queen Volume 1 and 2. Then I have a new book also called The Mask of Masculinity. For many years, as brothers growing up from boyhood to manhood, we've been told, don't cry. Man up, crying is for girls. And as a result, we don't verbalize, we internalize. But a man is not so much about his muscles, his Mercedes, his phone book full of ladies. Being a man is about being a mature, assertive nurturer. Paul said, when I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. And so this is a book that speaks to how men can reclaim their identity, lead in love with vulnerability, and then also how to deal with the father wounds, the fears, the failures, the frustrations that we deal with as men, and how women can create a safe space for men to be vulnerable. One of my other books here that I brought as well is A Mare I Can't Breathe. Red, White, Blue, Black Lives and Unmasking Race in America really speaks to the whole aspect of education, of justice, of also how to create greater race relations in these yet to be United States of America, and also next steps for this nation. According to Penn State survey, they said 84% of Americans are frustrated and worried about the direction of this nation. And so we have to move forward by any means necessary. You can see me afterwards, and I'll be able to put one of these books in your hand. Listen, this afternoon I could really stand up here, this morning I could stand up here and be intoxicated with the exuberance of my intellectual verbosity. I could engage you in linguistic calisthenics. I could stand up here and really endear you in a soliloquy and bloviate and be loquacious about Plato, Socrates, Euripides, or even Aristophanes. But I didn't come for any of these names at all today. Today I came to transform your thinking. Scripture says in Ephesians chapter 5, verse 16, to redeem the time because the days are evil. Just ask your neighbor, do you know what time it is?
Do you know what time it is?
Come on, that's the wrong neighbor. Look at the other neighbor. Ask him, do you know what time it is? My dear brothers and sisters, today there is no question that we are living in troubled times. And more than ever before, we need a generation, we need a people who are critical thinkers in a chaotic world. We've got to be critical. We've got to be cognizant of the fact when it is that we're living in times where every 28 hours a black male is the victim of police brutality.
I believe it.
From Ferguson to Charleston to Baltimore, Maryland to Detroit to even Ypsilanti, Michigan, the fight for freedom, justice, and equality has yet to be realized in this country.
Say that.
And what you can do, Mother Moore, especially as she talked about it, how they're building prisons based on second and third grade reading scores.
Right.
They'd rather lock up our brothers rather than unlock their purpose, where we're living in America, which is incarceration nation, which houses 95% of the prison population in this country.
Yep.
When it is that we have so many brothers, black and brown brothers, who are warehoused, where it still is slavery under a new name. In a new Jim Crow. You can substitute this generation's name of Trayvon Martin, of Malcolm, of Michael Brown, of Eric Garner, of Tamir Rice, of Freddie Gray, or yesterday's Emmett Till. And really, ever since the tyrannical killing of Emmett Till, I'm beginning to believe that time travel is real, because it seems as if we're living in a sordid, twisted sequel of Back to the Future, living in 1922 rather than 2022. As we reside in these divided states of America. We got to understand that black men and women are more than just social media hashtags. We are social movement heroes. It is Oliver Wendell Holmes, a noted author and physician, who declared, a mind stretched by new ideas never returns to its original dimension. And when it is that you begin to stretch your mind and build your faith, then the parameters of your life exponentially expand as a result. And I got news for you, my dear brothers and sisters, today, that you can't graduate to the next level if your thinking is small and if you're surrounding yourself with small-minded people. You got to understand that there's levels to this, as young people say. And that is, we have to understand that limited thinking cannot be confounded by unlimited dreams. And that is, if your dreams are affordable, then you're not dreaming big enough. You can't stretch to the next level if you're stifled by the opinions of people. Malcolm X declared, if you can't handle criticism, you're surely not ready for success. And what we have to do is that we have to realize that there will be critics, there will be cynics, there will be naysayers, there will be haters, but we got to use them all as elevators and escalators to escalate to the next level. In this life, you can't get to the next level without growing through some stuff. I wish I could tell you that life was easy and that you could understand that challenges create champions without experiencing any challenges at all. But it is challenge. It is the sort of twisted discomfort of life that creates change, that creates opportunity. It is the fact that there is no anesthetic to the growth of life. You can't numb yourself and wake up and be unconscious and go from point A to point Z without experiencing anything. We got to go through some things, and we've grown through a lot of turmoil and crisis, and we understand that only the strong survive, but only the strongest will thrive. It is the life of our sainted ancestors who tell us that there are some lessons in the valley that you can't learn on the mountaintop. You got to remember, everything that you learned in the valley or our climb onto the mountaintop will put us right back in the valley if we don't move to the next level and learn those lessons. And I'm understanding today that the reason that you've labored and learned is so that you can be qualified to lead. I'm a living witness that you can't teach anybody anything who thinks they know everything. Simply because a know-it-all really knows nothing at all. And what we must do is we must have receptive ears. My grandmama told me God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. You got to have more reception to listen than it is to speak. You got to be open to listen. We got to be open to learn from the previous generation in order so that we can lead. I love the fact that we stand on the shoulders of giants who are in our midst today. And that's why we can see a lot farther, because we're standing on your shoulders. We're standing on the shoulders of those in here today who went through the discrimination, who endured the segregation, who endured sometimes the beatings and the dismantling and the dogs and all the inequity of what people have went through in life. I'm looking at leaders in this room. And a true leader does more than just create followers. A true leader creates leaders. We come from kings and queens who mobilized the movement, not for applause, but for a cause. They never had any of the technological advancements and amenities that are so ingrained in our culture today. People like Dr. King and Rosa Parks and Medgar Evers and Malcolm X never had a cell phone, never had Twitter, never had Facebook, never had YouTube, never had Instagram, never had Snapchat, never had TikTok, never had Periscope, and some of y'all still got MySpace. Yet they influenced the fact, they influenced the culture. They influenced their space and still mobilized the movement because they did it with the power of their mind. They did it with the power of unity because they understood that we're better together. They understood the fact that I am my brother's keeper. I am my sister's protector. And today we can't sit here. We can't rest on our laurels. We can't have the fact of the mindset of what we can't do. Because my Bible tells me in Philippians 4:13 that I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. Somebody holler all. Don't tell me what you can't do, because the last 4 letters in African, the last 4 letters in American doesn't just spell can, but it spells I can. I can. Afro I can. Amer I can. Whether you're Asian American, whether you're Indian American, whether you're Native American, whether you're Arab American, whether you're white American, the last 4 letters in American is I can. What movement will you mobilize? Yes, Lord. What will you use to inspire the next generation? Look at all the gifts. Look at all the talents that you have. You don't need Christmas to let you know that you're a gift. You're a red box and a gold bowl. You're a gift to the world. The tragedy is to be gifted but to never open the package. The tragedy is to be gifted, but not to never open the package, but to never use what's in the package. What God gave you is a gift. What you do with that gift is a gift back to God. Look at all the gifts and talents that you have. So what if no one will give you an opportunity? So what if people tell you no? You got to see no as new opportunity. You can't let it stop you, but you got to start creating one for yourself. Because today I'm looking at new school Martin Luther Kings and Coretta Scott Queens. I see new school Malcolm next. You're going to get that next week. And you got to be a critical thinker. You got to be a critical thinker in chaotic times. We got to know our heritage. We got to take pride in our history. It's sad when our young people know more about Waka Flocka Flame than they do about W.B. Du Bois. It's sad when our young people know more about Megan Thee Stallion than they do about Madam C.J. Walker. Who's going to pick up the baton? Who's going to pick up the mantle of a dreamer? Who's going to pick up the baton of breakthrough and help us break down barriers? Wondering, is it you today? Look at that neighbor, ask him, is it you? Is it you? Is it you? Is it you? You got to point to yourself and say, yes, it's me. Yes. You got to point around your room and say, yes, it's us. If they did more with less, what's stopping you from doing more with the more that you have? My Bible tells me to whom much is given, much is required. Let me tell you like this, your mind is a bank and the information you learn is currency. Knowledge becomes like money that you can use. Essentially, the more information you gain, the more you have to share and use. No information, no currency. And no currency leads to bankruptcy. And that's why we are in the trenches of not just a digital divide, but an intergenerational divide, because there's a lack of informational currency, wealth, and wisdom being transferred to our children. That's why the scripture declares, my people perish for a lack of knowledge. It is a lack of informational currency, simply because informational currency makes you a visionary, but without a vision, the people perish.
Teach, young man, teach.
You have no vision. If you have sight but no vision, you're still blind. I know you got on Gucci frames, but it ain't about you wearing designer glasses. I want you to know, I'm asking you today, do you have a vision? It's not about you having a Rolex watch on your wrist. It's not about Rolex or Timex. I want to know, do you know what time it is? It's not about you pulling up to the scene with your ceiling missing, to where you say, if it ain't foreign, it's born. It ain't about the car you drive. I wonder what's driving you. It's not about the suit or the red bottom heels on your feet. Sometimes the only thing Christian about us is the Christian Louboutin shoes on our feet. I wonder, are you walking in the blood? I wonder today, beyond your suit, are you clothed in the armor of God? Because when you have a vision, then you can support, then you can expect provision. Sir Walter Riley put it this way. He said, when you stand on the shoulders of giants, you can see a lot farther. And that's why we have to have the mindset today to where our motto has to be forward ever, backward never. Why? Because the civil rights icon Fannie Lou Hamer suggested we did not sing "We Shall Overcome" so that when we overcame, we forgot about those who still need to come over. And I propose to you today, my dear brothers and sisters, have we forgot about the least, the last, the lost, the left out, the overlooked, the underserved, and the underrepresented? Have we not made Matthew 25 come alive? To when Jesus asked, Jesus said, if you fed me, did you feed me when I was naked? Did you clothe me when I was naked? Did you feed me when I was hungry? Did you visit me in prison? If you did it to the least of these, you did it unto me. Former chairman of the NAACP and civil rights freedom fighter, the late Julian Bond, declared, good things don't come to those who wait. Rather, they come to those who agitate. I'm wondering, my dear brothers and sisters today, have you become so cynical? Have you become so desensitized to violence, impoverished communities, unemployment, mass incarceration, lack of opportunities, and low education that you refuse to agitate the system and speak truth to power?
Say that, say that.
Question is, who will pick up the baton now to run this race? The time for posturing is over. The time for looking like a lion and sounding like a kitten is over. We losing too many young people. We losing too many brothers and sisters to the street. And we ought to say, if you're not going to fight with me on the front lines, then don't get in my way. Just go stand on the sidelines. Because I need some real generals. I need some real no-limit soldiers. Some people who are about that life to fight for substantive freedom. Due to the skewed perceptions, we got to understand that us as black men and women in this country are not stereotypes, we are prototypes. We got to let our children know you're not no young thug, you a young scholar.
Say that, say that.
We got to let them know that you're not going to jail, you're going to Cornell or Yale. You're not going to do 4 years in a prison house, you're going to do 4 years at Spelman and Morehouse. You will not do 4 years at a correctional facility. You're going to do 4 years at a college or a university. We got to let them know what the real aspect of being black in America is, because black high school graduates are 3 times more likely to be in college or employed than unemployed. You can't allow the skewed media perceptions to paint the picture that we just behind prison bars and we're not making any breakthroughs. Black men make up the largest share of people of color serving in the U.S. Armed Forces, and I salute you today. We are more than athletes. We are more than rappers. We are more than reality TV show personalities. We are teachers. We are doctors. We are lawyers. We are judges. We are astrophysicists. We are entrepreneurs. We are professors. We are engineers. We are architects who build the future. We don't just twerk. We work for freedom. We are scholars. We are leaders. We are assets to our communities and our university. And every time a black man succeeds, the media, even our community, treats us like Ty Dolla $ign. It's just blase, blase, blase. It's just nonchalant, and people seem to be unimpressed. But if you're looting, shooting, slanging, and banging, then we get attention. Dr. King suggested that anybody can be great because everybody can serve. Simply because life is not about living for applause, it's about rolling up our sleeves for a dynamic cause. Because the original generation's revolutionary rap music's lyrics suggested, if I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a word or song, then my living shall not be in vain. W.B. Du Bois declared that we are the talented 10th that must invest into the 90 of society. We got to transform our culture. We got to transform our classrooms. We got to transform our communities that are riddled in crisis. Come on, look at our culture. Look at our classrooms. Look at our communities. What is the value of black life in America? The school system would say $7,500 per pupil expenditure, but the prison system would say $35,000 per bed. Its value is in incarceration nation, not in education. Isn't it interesting that they'll put us from preschool to a prison pipeline, to where Fannie Lou Hamer said, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. When will we get sick and tired and upset enough to get off our duff and disrupt this preschool to prison pipeline?
Ooh, thank you, Jesus.
James Baldwin said, to be black in America and to be relatively conscious is to be in a rage almost all the time. Can't help but to walk around with a mean mug. Can't help to walk around not always thinking about peaches and cream and living on cloud nine. How can I not have righteous indignation when I look at the streets and nation, when I look at Kercheval and Bewick, when I look at Mack and Bewick, when I look on 7 Mile, when I look on Joy Road and it's nothing but pain on Joy Road? How can I not have righteous indignation when there's animosity and disdain, when we got to transform our destructive anger into action to recognize you not my N-word, you my brother, you my sister, you created in the image of God. And I can't say I love a God who I haven't seen if I hate my brother or my sister who I see every day. We in the black community, we often like fingers because we're simply divided, doing great things separately, pointing at the problem. But if we bring our fingers together like a fist, we can knock out oppression. We can knock out dilapidation. We can knock out miseducation. We can knock out disunity and division and disorganization, because Scripture declares a house divided against itself cannot stand. Y'all ain't got to say amen today. Y'all can say ouch. See, when the dentist drills you, you yell ouch, but when the preacher hits you, you get quiet. I know truth is a new hate speech, but I'm going to still speak the truth in love. And our community has operated as fingers too long, but it is teamwork that makes the dream work. God is raising up a new generation of people who are going to speak truth to power and say, I'm not going to let it go down like this. I refuse to let my grandmother and my great-grandfather and my forefathers and foremothers roll around in the grave to repeal everything that they worked, that they died, and that they sweat for. I'm going to do more because I got more. No longer can we be silent about the things that matter. We got to speak truth to power, because when we come together like a fist, we can give it a knockout. This ain't about you being G'd up from the feet up. This ain't about your hair whipped, dipped, fried, dyed, and laid to the side. This ain't about you having your nail done, hair done, everything did. Are you fancy, huh? This ain't about what you got on you. It's about you knowing the value that God placed inside of you. I'm wondering, do I got some people in here today who still know that I've still got something left to fight for? Do you got any fight left in you today? It's time to wake up. It's time to stay woke. It's time to recognize, as the African proverb suggested, the two most important dates in your life is number one, the day that you were born, but secondly, the day you realize why you were born. Your why is the purpose. God gave you a specific gift for you to move your life to the next level, for you to recognize that we can pool our resources together. We got to support each other. We got to support black businesses. We got to support one another. When we got a $1.5 trillion spending power, as they say, but it's really an investing power. But we only use 1% of our resources with people who look like us. Using our resources, not to support each other, but to hate on one another. We got to make financial literacy one of the main stalwarts of this 21st century to, yes, civil rights, but also silver rights. It's got to be education. It's got to be economic empowerment. It's got to be the place of what it is that we move our life to the next level. Let our young people know you don't have to be the next LeBron James or the next Steph Curry. You may never play in the NBA, but you can still own the team by earning an MBA, a master's in business administration. You may never be America's next top model, young lady, but you can be America's next top role model when you keep your standards higher than your heels. You gotta let our young people know that 92% of black millionaires did not become wealthy from shooting a ball from in a basket, from running on a football field like a Herschel Walker, who after he got the ball, dropped the ball. They didn't come wealthy from twerking in a video, rapping on a microphone. They didn't become wealthy from selling each other out. But they became wealthy from investing into one another. And we got to move to another place in our specific life to recognize that we got a Republican Party of pretenders who, based upon the midterms, drowned in their own supposed red wave, which became a Red Sea. I know I'm going to upset the equilibrium in here, but we got to tell the truth. They're nothing but party promoters. What they promote is not what they practice. They promote faith and family values on the foundation of religious nationalism. But when you step in the party, the roof is leaking with low-level leadership. When you step in the party reeks of a lack of accountability. When you step in the party and look across the room, you see a DJ by the name of Donald Trump. Keep spinning you the same records, not by TLC, not by Guy, not by NWA, but he's spinning a record by the DOJ. Circumventing judgment from the Department of Justice. We are living in the divided states of America. Two of the main issues in this country has us in a chasm to where we're stuck between abortion and inflation. Birth and bills, seemingly born to pay bills. These party promoters can tell a woman what to do with her body, but not provide any assistance after she gives birth to her baby. Or they can talk about not harming a fetus pre-birth, but will put a knee on your neck post-birth. I can't get no witnesses in here. And you think you're going to get away scot-free, America, when now inflation rules this nation, which was built on the backs of black and brown bodies? Let me bring Fat Joe in the room. Yesterday's price is not today's price. Because the cost of everything is rising. And America is paying the debt, is paying the cost of priceless black bodies of yesteryear who picked cotton for free, fed, nursed, and saw their children through school, inflation, recession, economic depression from 1619 to COVID-19. The virus of racism, unrepentant rage, redlining, redistricting, and redacting our progress has paralyzed us as a people. But I got news for you today. It's time for us to get up. It's time for us to get back up. It's time for us to walk by faith together. And don't tell me that Jesus was a conservative. Don't tell me my Jesus was a conservative. He healed people on Sundays. against the Jewish rabbinical rule. Don't tell me Jesus was a conservative when he flipped over tables in a synagogue. That ain't conservative to me. Don't tell me he was a conservative when he gave out free health care. Y'all ain't gonna say nothing to me. Jesus was not a conservative. He fed 4,000 and 5,000 people without government assistance and a city permit. You got to change the narrative of your conservative Christ being a black man murdered by an unruly government for a crime he never even committed. Nothing was conservative about Jesus' death. Nothing was conservative about his life. It is only in these United States of amnesia that you will hear "Make America Great Again." But I want to ask you a question today. When was it really great? Was it great when you enslaved black bodies, boarding them on ships like cargo? Was it great when you lynched and castrated our grandmothers and our grandfathers? Was it great when you raped our mothers and our daughters? Was America great when you stole the land of the Native Americans using pseudo-peace treaties disguised as tyranny? You tell me, was this a great nation? Because the red cap is only symbolic of the red blood from black bodies shed on Black Wall Street and plantations. No cap, because the cap on their heads is worn to cover the ignorance in their minds. It is that party, it is that Republican base which prides itself on being the party of Lincoln when it lacks direction. A Lincoln Navigator has a better GPS system than the Republican Party. Lincoln was known for his honesty. This party is known for their lies and their trickery. Lincoln gave the Gettysburg Address. This party takes away the basic fundamentals of life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness without any redress to address the basic needs of Americans every day. And we got to believe more than ever before that we can't be segmented. We got to understand that we don't have to compete against each other. We can collaborate with our brothers and sisters. Why is that? Because as I hasten to my close, it is, ladies and gentlemen, that I stand before you today with quake and trepidation. I stand before you today woefully unqualified. I shouldn't even have this hallowed opportunity. Because yes, I stand before you as a college professor with a PhD in education, but all of that is my New Testament. My Old Testament is that I endured and enrolled in the school of hard knocks. I graduated from the University of Adversity.
All right.
But I'm a living witness that the least likely can do the most mighty. I'm a living witness that God will use your setback as a setup for your greatest comeback. I'm a living witness that I'm standing before you as a kid who was told by a guidance counselor who never gave me any guidance or counseling, who knew my favorite 2 classes in school were gym and lunch. Loved to chase the girls in gym and then sit down and eat with them at lunch. And she said, Eddie, you're not going to college. Don't even think about community college. Pick up a trade. But the same lady who told me I'd never go to college had to show up to my graduation from college, to where I earned a PhD, but for her it stood for a player-hater degree. You see, people will doubt you, but you can't let that stop you. You got to understand that you can rise, you can fly, you can soar to the next level, because you're an eagle who can mount up on wings as an eagle. And what I love about an eagle is when every other bird flies away from the storm, when the pigeon flies away, when the robin flies away, when all the other birds fly away, when the chicken can't even flap to get high enough, the eagle doesn't fly away around it, under it, or over it. The eagle flies right into the storm. And it uses the storm to go higher. I just want to let you know today that this is a storm that has been going on in our world, in our city, in our community. But it's time to fly into the storm and use the storm to go higher together. We got to let justice, as the book of Amos said, roll down like waters, and righteousness like a mighty stream, because the book of Micah tells us to do justice, to love kindness, to love mercy, to walk humbly with our God. We got to move to that level, because today we stand on the shoulders of great giants. Today you got to realize you're not a chump, you're a champion. You're not a chicken, you're an eagle. You're not a whiner, you're a winner. You're not a worrier, You're a warrior. Your test is a testimony. You're not chained to your past. You're changed for your future. This is your hour of power. This is our minute to win it. This is our moment to own it. This is our season of reason. This is our day to convey. This is still our year to cheer and move our life to the next level. Words of poetic Kendrick Lamar, we gonna be all right. It is historic King Solomon today. I charge you to be relentless, be radical, be revolutionary, be resilient, and keep fighting by any means necessary. I'm out of time, but I'm not out of truth. But before I log off, before I sign off, you got to understand that you're too great to be good. You're too amazing to be average. You're too excellent and extraordinary to be ordinary. There's greatness in you. There's a king inside of you, my brother. There's a queen inside of you, my sister. Mount up with wings as an eagle. The dream of Dr. King lives through you. The radical roar of Malcolm X screams by any means necessary. The vision of Dr. Carter G. Woodson is deep in your soul, illuminating your visual acuity. Frederick Douglass, Medgar Evers, invent like George Washington Carver. Reinvent like Fannie Lou Hamer, Rosa Parks, Barbara Jordan. Turn pain into poetry like a Maya Angelou. When they go low, you ought to go high like Michelle Obama. You ought to demand RESPECT like the soul singer Aretha Franklin. Knock out oppression like Muhammad Ali. Hit a home run and break barriers like a Jackie Robinson. Pick up the baton and recognize it's your time to run your race like a Jesse Owens. Look at the clock and recognize it's your time like Benjamin Banneker. Let your ideas be like a light bulb ignited by the filament of a Lewis Latimer. You're a modern day Marcus Garvey, Nelson Mandela, W.B. Du Bois, Booker T. Washington, Stokely Carmichael. You come from kings and you show up come from queens. Be the rose that grows through the concrete. I'm grateful today for all the civil rights leaders. I'm grateful today for brothers and sisters like you. But I'm thankful for the greatest civil rights soldier who the world has ever seen. And his name is Jesus, who laid his body down, shedding his blood. And he said, nobody takes my life, but I lay it down and I pick it up like it when I get ready. And like Maya Angelou, I rise, I rise, I rise. Raise your fist today. Raise your voice today. You ought to say by any means necessary. I'm unapologetically rising above my obstacles by any means necessarily. I'm unapologetically anointed by any means necessary. I'm unapologetically educated by any means necessary. I'm unapologetically gifted by any means necessary. I'm unapologetically committed to my community by any means necessary. I'm unapologetically a follower of Christ, and by any means necessary, I know it's my time and I'm unapologetically